ありがとうございます。はい、ということですね、この超スペクタクルハイスピードロールプレイングアクションゲームソニックアドベンチャーについて詳しくご紹介していただく方をお呼びしているんです、ソニックアドベンチャーの生みの親とも言うべき、もう皆さんね、ソニックファンならもうご存知の方だと思います。ソニックプロデューサー中裕二さんです。
Producer of the Sonic team, Mr. Naka! Producer of the Sonic team, Mr. Naka! Ladies and gentlemen!
After the 4 core Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis games were finished, most of the creative team behind the game left and went back to Japan to make games for the Sega Saturn. This included some amazing games like Burning Rangers and Nights into Dreams, but the hedgehog that made them famous was yet to be seen on the console, and this left Sega Technical Institute in the United States to create the hedgehog's first 3D entry. Dubbed Sonic Extreme, the project was ultimately a failure and was cancelled. It can be argued that the lack of a Sonic game was part of the reason that the Sega Saturn ultimately failed altogether. Realizing this grim fate, the Japanese Sonic team decided it was time to make a 3D Sonic platformer for the Sega Saturn. But after the engine was created, it was realized that the Sega Saturn's time was through and it was time to move on to a new console. We would see this prototype on the Sonic Jam compilation disc for the Sega Saturn. Little did we know that this was a sign of things to come. Taking the initiative, a game designer for Sonic 3 and Knuckles, Takashi Iizuka, came up with a plan to make a Sonic RPG of sorts for the next Sega console. Just as Sonic 3 and Knuckles had more plot than Sonic 2, this game would have even more plot. And so the stage was set. It was time to work on the first fully 3D Sonic the Hedgehog game. The team spent a long time debating on how Sonic would work in 3D, and after building a test level, realized that it was much too small and could be completed in only 10 seconds. At this point, Iizuka realized that the series needed to evolve in order to make the jump into 3D. So, realizing that most of the people who worked on the earlier Sonic games still worked at Sega, he went to talk to them about what made Sonic Sonic. To highlight these new changes to the franchise, new character designs were created by Yuji Ikawa, who had previously designed Rystar. Deciding on an almost graffiti-like art style, he created stylized versions of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, who remained mostly unchanged in design. However, Amy Rose was drastically redesigned, made to look older and fit more with her character's narrative in the story. Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman as he was referred to for the first time worldwide in this game, was originally meant to maintain his original design, but was changed later in development. 2 new characters were created, E102 Gamma, who was created to show a behind-the-scenes look at Dr. Eggman's creations, and Big the Cat, who was created to break up the intense nature of the other 5 characters. Fitting with the grand scheme of the game, there would be multiple playstyles for each of these characters, and each would feel differently from each other in gameplay. The character of Chaos was created mostly because the team wanted to experiment with new graphical effects that would not have been possible on older hardware. The team wanted something transparent and liquid, so Chaos was decided on. The team also looked back at one of their older ideas, A-Life from Nights into Dreams, and created the idea of Chow. They wanted to create a separate goal outside of the main game story. Since most of the game was created before the dev team was given a Dreamcast development kit, the idea that you could bring your Chow onto your VMU memory card and play with them outside of the game in almost a handheld environment was not added until later in the development of the game. The music for this game was also drastically different than the classic. Most of the songs were written by Jun Senu, and some were performed by his band, Crush 40. It's hard to argue that this game doesn't have one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. I mean, listen to some of these songs. Along with these new redesigns, new gameplay style, and new music, there would also need to be vast new worlds for Sonic to explore. Knowing this, Yuji Naka and his team traveled across Central and South America in preparation of creating these worlds for the game. This influence can be seen in the mystic ruins and overall story of the game. The story revolves around Chaos, an ancient being that basically causes chaos. He is abused by the ancient Echidna tribes and eventually sealed in the Master Emerald along with Taka, a young girl who tries to protect the Chao from Chaos. These Echidna lived on the floating island seen in Sonic 3. This island required the Master Emerald to float, so it was closely guarded. In the present day, it's guarded by Knuckles the Echidna. Dr. Eggman wakes up Chaos knowing he can use him to destroy the city and build Eggman Land, but he finds out that he'll need the Chaos Emeralds in order to power Chaos up. Finding out his plan, Sonic and Tails go on a mad dash to get the emeralds before Eggman, not knowing that they're actually being used to find the emeralds for him and that he's just going to end up stealing them anyway. All of the characters in the story eventually come together, and while I won't spoil anything more, it's clear that this is a much more involved story than past Sonic games and just past video games in general. Finally, on August 22nd, 1998, the game was unveiled to the public in the Tokyo International Forum. With fans eager to play the game, it was finally released on December 23rd, 1998 as a launch title for the Dreamcast in Japan. The game would eventually be released in the United States on September 9th, 1999 with some bug fixes from the Japanese version. But fans who were eager to get their hands on the new Sega console and new Sonic game, starting on July 15th, 1999, could go to Hollywood Video and rent a console and the game. Dubbed Sonic Adventure Limited Edition, this is known to be one of the rarest United States released Dreamcast titles, even though it's just basically an English-dubbed version of the Japanese Sonic Adventure game with no bug fixes. Being a huge fan of this game, I happen to have a copy myself, and I can confirm that although there is a video that plays when you click Internet that isn't in the final game, there's really nothing else different here, other than the camera angles from the Japanese version, which are normally just inferior anyway. The game was a success worldwide and helped sell the Dreamcast early in its lifespan. Despite this, series co-creator Naoto Aoishima would make this his final project with Sonic Team, and the character he'd helped create as a whole. Being a huge success, Yuji Naka eventually went to the United States, San Francisco specifically, with Sonic Team USA and created Sonic Adventure 2. Widely dubbed the swan song of the Dreamcast, Sega would stop making consoles shortly after the game's release. It is rumored and stated in the History of Sonic the Hedgehog book that Sonic Adventure 3 was in development when Sega stopped making hardware. Will we ever see Sonic Adventure 3? Have we already? Who knows? While many consider the Sonic Adventure games to not have aged quite that well, the games are still a success today and have been released on multiple different consoles since their original release on the Sega Dreamcast. And no matter what you think of these games today, there's no doubting that they had a huge impact on the gaming industry and created a lot of Sonic fans for life. Thanks for watching.